So next week, Chelsea's doing her call on secrets from her life coach, or top tips from her life coach. She hired a Tony Robbins life coach, and there's not very many life coaches. They're very selective with who they work with, and she's been working with one for a few weeks now. Incredible transformation for Chelsea, like the focused attention of what she's learning, and she's also teaching me. It's kind of cool. Way different. It's just it's what we need to know, but are you really doing the things you need to know? And then taking it to the next level. So that's the next week's team call. And the following week, I'm going to do Tony Robbins takeaways and share with you what I learned, because I think that if you want to have a breakthrough in your business, to get from I'm in a place where I know I want to move forward, I'm kind of stuck, that's the call you need to listen to. Well, all of them you do. But without further ado, it is February the 2nd, and it's a cup month, and that's exciting. There's some pretty sweet swag prizes. Have you guys checked them out? What prize are you going for? Type in the chat. Bria says second tier. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull this picture up. Okay, so let me see if I can screen share. Hopefully this doesn't show you how messy my computer is. If so, don't judge me. Okay, can you see that? Or not really, is it small? Okay, so check it out. So tier 1 is the Shakeology tumbler. Tier 2 is the hardcore stuff. And then the Coach throw blanket. All of them are amazing, and you guys can all do it. I know it. Every time I've done a cup team, I've always gotten a prize, even when I was a newer coach. This is just for hitting Success Club 5 and 10, and then encourage your people to do the same. So the reason why I love cups so much is because leaders emerge. If you do something and it works, you send a message and that person signs up, share it with your cup team. If you send 10 messages in the day, share it with your cup team. Be like, I sent 10 today. Or I read this quote, it really helped me. Or Bria just shared this awesome invitation process, and I thought you guys would like it. Contribute to your team, and the more you interact with your team and the more you show up on the page, the more you're going to get from your cup team. So you all should be in like a group message, plan on Zooming once a week, and really stay connected, because this is a chance to learn and grow together to help people to change their life in February, because chances are a lot of people have already fallen off track, okay? Another thing, we got the size challenge packs, 21-day fix challenge packs. I should just permanently discount those in my opinion, but that's what we're running with right now. So there's a lot of opportunity there. And then get ready, because 22-minute hardcore, get some, is going to be on demand for your sneak peek this week. Who's going to try it out? Who's going to hashtag get some? Let's do a hashtag get some Soar Nation, so we can all find each other and comment, okay? That will be fun, and that releases March 1, I believe. And so get excited. The more that you're showing what you're doing, the more people want to do it with you. It's just how it is. So if by you sharing why you liked it or what part of your butt sore or whatever, then that's going to get people really excited about doing it. Or even like 22 minutes and I'm like wringing out my hair. People want that. It's gross, but they do. So, all right. Now I get to introduce to you one of my very favorite people in the entire world, Bria Evenson. We all know her, we love her, but she's a 2015 Elite Coach, Success Club All-Star legend, a six-figure earner with us. She has, 7 lifetime diamonds? Is it 7? Good job. And the thing with Bria that I think is so cool is that she had the organic growth, progression in this business where she was a challenger and then wanted to pay it forward. So she didn't come in going, I want to make $1 million. It was the natural progression of coaching. She had a good experience in our challenge group, started to pay that forward. And then, about 1.5 years ago or whatever, she kind of was like, all right, I kind of like this. What do I need to do to get serious about this? And all she did is she just tweaked what she was doing. And I want to show you something really quick, and this is something I learned yesterday. I'm going to turn it over to her. But they said that, a lot of people think that you need to do like a 180 in order to get to your destination. But the thing is that here's where we go if we're going to go in the same direction. Can you guys see that? Right? That's where you go. And this line down here is called safety, stability, security, staying in our little comfort bubble. But they call this line, you're either growing or you're dying. So this is the dying line. right? Because you're just fading out. Dying, to make it very clear. Okay, then they said, you don't need to do a 180. Just tweak what you're doing and turn up the freaking volume just a little bit on what you want, and do like one more invite a day, which is what Bria did. She went from 3 to 5, like a power of 3 to power of 5 or something like that. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the conversation I remember having. And by doing that, at first it's not going to seem like much, but over time, it's going to take off. And that's how our business works. So simple, right? You want to get up here, or you want to get up here, simply add, like, just slightly turn up your volume a little bit. Okay. Now, go ahead, Bria. It's all you.
Unmute myself. Thanks, guys. Thanks so much for having me tonight. And I love that, Emma. I think it's going to actually tie in really well with a lot of my takeaways, because I'll jump right in. I am always really excited to be on the call with you guys. I used to get a lot more nervous than I do now, but I still get a little nervous, which is fine because I'm cold and it heats me up. But okay, so what I wanted to share with you were like my top 10 takeaways from the New Leader Conference. And I mean, there are obviously a billion, like any awesome event that you go to, but for the purpose of really trying to pass something that's concise and actionable to you guys, I really tried to whittle it down to like 10 that had a little bit of an action item with each one of those things. And like, these are obviously the takeaways that I took. So I know you're getting it in like almost like a broken telephone format, but this is the stuff that I am implementing in my business right away that I found really valuable and just spoke to me at the New Leader Conference. And their whole purpose of the conference is to take these new leaders and provide us all info that you can use to specifically get you to Elite, because that is their goal this year. Is anyone who attends the New Leader Conference in January, their goal is to have every single one of those coaches move their businesses to Elite that year. So the takeaways that I'm sharing with you are action items that are really meant to help you grow to that next level. And I was really like, just as a quick take, like my overview overall, it was, they obviously treat you really well. Like, it's really neat to see corporate. There's a lot of awesome parts about it. But in terms of the training itself, what I thought was really cool is that they do such a great job of like getting part of corporate and part of real coaches. And corporate does an amazing job of like being very visionary for us, you know, looking at the future of the business side and the strategy side of these businesses for us, of what we're trying to go. And then the coaches that are there speaking to us, the leader coaches, are really great about bringing it down and making it applicable, like in the trenches for us. What are things that coaches are doing right now to get us to follow that trajectory that they're aiming us towards? And I thought that was brilliant that they do that for us. They really are looking out for the best, you know, the betterment of the company that we're all trying to be a part of, and the movement that we're giving out there. So with that being said, the very first person who opened, of course, was Carl, who came and he opened our whole session. And so my first takeaway came from him. And, you know, Carl's a great storyteller, so I know I'm not going to do it very justice, but he spoke that day about meeting with a fellow who was a $1 million fitness business owner and wanted to bring the business to Beachbody to be invested in. And, you know, Carl does a great job of depicting this moment of, he's sitting there and he's listening to this guy and he's wondering why all he can focus on are his bobbleheads in his office. And he realizes it's because all this guy is talking to him about is the money that they could make together. And it's completely missing the point and the purpose and the heart of him and our Team Beachbody and this journey that we're all on, which is really to help people. And, you know, that in a way, he feels very strongly that every fitness business or anyone with that goal, really, their whole focus should be, what can we do to help people get better results? And so that really spoke to me. But I think the point that I wanted to bring across to you guys that he brought to us is, what we are really trying to do here is help people get through the hard stuff. Help them make the hard decision to get started, because it's the start that stops most people, right? Help them make that hard decision, and then help them get through the hard part of persevering through the 21, the 30, the 60, the 90 days. Help them through that hard part, and then help them with the hard part of sharing that with other people. That's what we do. We help them through the hard, the tough part. And it's something that we should be very aware of, like, people are suffering alone out there, and we should be able to stand strong behind this mission that we are on, which is really genuinely to reach into the heart of others and help them through the tough stuff by telling them they can do it and by believing in them when they can't. So to be relentless, that was his message. Be relentless about helping people through the hard, and be relentless about your purpose and what you're doing out there. And the action item I just wanted to give with going along with that is, what I wanted to do is take a minute at the end of that, and at the end of this session even, and say, what in your business aren't you being relentless about? What is it in your business that you are not being relentless about? Because that is what you need to turn up that volume on. Make sure that is the point that you are lifting up, because we're only as strong as our weakest link. So take a look at there, and what part are you you're being flaky on, and tighten that up of your vital behaviors. So that was my first takeaway. The second one I thought was Jeff Hill came on, and he, talked a lot about, moving from good to great. And I thought that was really cool. But the biggest clear thing that stuck across for me was that this business has a 3-year trajectory. And you just need to be there, because it is hard in the beginning. Like any business, it's very hard to establish yourself and put yourself out there. But the beauty in that, like Emma was showing in the graph, like that really happens in all aspects. Your team, your following, your growth, your income, it all happens. The impact that you're making really you start to see that around that 2 to 3 year mark if you are relentless. But you need to plan to be there through the hard stuff. No matter what else is going on, you need to be so solid that you are looking at that trajectory and being like, no matter what, I'm going to push through. I'm going to do my darndest to hit Success Club and do my vital behaviors every single day. And I'm going to be there in 2 to 3 days, or 2 to 3 years, not days. And I think what he said is, ask yourself what you need to be a great leader. What is it that you need for yourself to be that great leader? And I thought that was really cool. So the action item that he said, and I really took this to heart, was we should all be taking a before shot of our business. So here we are, it's the beginning of the year. Just like you're starting a brand new program, take a before shot of your business, just the way you would of your body. Really take a good, clear look at it. What is the part that you're not happy with? Be honest with yourself, and then be very realistic about where you want to go, so that you are going that way and going that direction. Like make a board. Sorry, I missed something there. Like make a board of, I guess, I don't know. Anyway, take a picture before shot.
You can do like the leadership roadmap is a great tool to use, or like tracking your bats for a month. That gives you a clear snapshot of your business right now, or leader roadmap of last year. How did you trend? You'll know exactly what you did last year if you go back and track the months. Like, what was your percentage of growth in volume on your weak leg? Does anyone know that? Go back and track it, and it'll give you like, how many conversations did you have to join your team in the last year or 3 months? How many people joined from those conversations? It's a clear snapshot, and it's so easy to track on the leader roadmap. Sorry, I just had to say that.
No, that was awesome. That was a great tip, because I kind of pictured it as literally like the longer you've been in it, the easier I think it is for you to take that before snapshot, because you have more stats to kind of pull from. But you're right, especially if you're just a year in, I think it's important to have a specific tracker. And I use the leader roadmap all the time. So that was a great tip. Okay, so that was my action item for that, is take it before. We get very clear on that. Number 3, so Michelle Myers was one of the top coaches that jumped in to talk, and I've always really loved listening to her speak. She's hilarious. She's from the South, and her Southern accent really comes out when she gets heated. So I think she's hilarious to listen to for me. But she calls herself Beachbody old, which is funny because she's like 7 years in. And she said she said a lot of great things, but one thing that I thought was very awesome and poignant, that I think is really key for new coaches, is to remember you are not an amateur. You are a professional that cares. We are not trying to be nutritionists or personal trainers. I mean, a lot of people are that, who are Beachbody coaches, but that is not what we do. What we do is help people get through that hard part because we care. And I thought she told a story about learning to fish when she was young, and how her dad, he's like, what do you do when you're teaching people something? You want to start them, get them success. So you start them with something easy. She's like, so my dad would take me out and, you know, we'd catch the easiest fish, the kind of fish that you can spit in the water and they would come and eat your spit, which is really gross. But anyway, her point was that if you bait people with cheap bait, with money, with whatever that is, that's all you're ever going to get. You're going to get people who never stick around. So make sure, being a professional that cares, make sure that you're baiting people with purpose in this business, that you are getting very rooted in what your purpose is so that you are talking to that. And it was really cool to hear Emma speak about what Tony Robbins, that aspect of it at the beginning of this, and the importance of lifting yourself up. That is what the vital behaviors are all about. You're supposed to work out every day and fuel your body and mind with amazing things, because that is the light for other people to follow. And that is that bait that you're going to be sharing. If you're putting out really good quality bait because that's what you're filling yourself up with, then those are the types of people you're going to attract. And the action item that went along, I thought, because she talked a lot about, and I know we've spoken about this before in Soar and Fierce Fit, but when you're training new coaches, when you're really, or even challengers, what we really do and what you want to learn to do well is this whole concept of I do, we do, you do. And you know, she talked about it in terms of our bringing on our coaches, but even with our challengers, that is what we're doing here. First, we're doing it ourselves and we're sharing that with people. Other people are watching us do that. Secondly, we're inviting them to do it with us and we're doing them together in a challenge group or, you know, coach opportunity call. And we're learning, we're having a discussion after that about how it's going, how people are feeling. And then they're doing it. They're running their own challenge groups or they're running their own new coach opportunity calls. And you're giving them feedback and then they're off on their own. They're off doing it themselves without you in that level. So that was a really cool action item for me to just write down and remember that saying is I do, we do, you do, and then you do while someone else watches. Okay, number 4. This was when Melanie Mitro stepped in and started talking specifically about recruiting and how to recruit. Because I learned a lot at the New Leader Conference. You really start to hear that the top coaches really focus on recruiting. That's where they get their Success Club points from. They're always out there really talking and sharing their heart about the business side of it and helping people get physically and financially fit at the same time. It's a very simultaneous thing. But she talked a lot about recruiting and how recruiting has recruiting the right people. Recruiting has so much to do with reaching the right people. Yes, you did do a call on I do. And I remember that one so well. That's always stuck in my head, Emma, that whole concept of I do, you do, I do, we do, you do.
I wasn't trying to interrupt. I was just saying, like, if you're a new coach on here or a new emerald, you're like, how do I even do that? Yeah. I did a call on it in case you guys want to see a little bit further and you want to step up as a leader on your team. I can share that link. That's all. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I can even picture the graphic, and it was really helpful at that time. And I was still fairly new then. So, okay. So yeah, recruiting has so much to do with reaching the right people and who specifically is your target audience. And this is what I love that she kind of helped you take a look at is you want to sit down and get really clear on, who is your target person? What are they struggling with? What are their pain points? What are the hard parts of their day? And how can you help them? And I thought the takeaway on that for me was, it's not about saying, like, when I think about my target market is our moms with young kids who are trying to find time, or, I could easily be like, oh, well, yeah, the problem is they want to lose weight for sure. But no, the problem is that they are exhausted. The problem is that they don't have time to make extra meals or can't even fathom getting up early to work out, like don't know where to find it inside of themselves. Dig deeper to really understand what they call the avatar, which is your ideal person, the person that you are speaking to when you're on social media. You're not talking to the whole world. You're only talking to the people who are there looking for you. So make sure you're really clear on who those people are, what their life looks like, what they need from you, and how, because that is what you can offer. You can't reach everyone. That's the cool part about being a coach, is that there are people that only you can reach, and yet you cannot reach everyone. So you have to do your best to reach the ones that you can reach. So the takeaway, again, that action item is to sit down and really create an avatar of your ideal person, understanding what their biggest burdens and problems are and how you can solve them. And the clearer you are on that, the better you're going to be able to reach those people. And I think that's very true, because I started learning about this in the last 6 months. And the more I started talking to those people, the more those are the people that come out. And then those are the people you relate to most anyway and work best with. So it ends up being a very valuable element to your business and to you and your message. Okay. Number 5 was all about sort of elite specifically and how to hit elite. And I'm not going to go into like the details of how to, like the numbers of what you need to do. There is an elite tracker that you can follow for that. And I'm sure that's something that your upline can work with you on. But my cool takeaway, Arnaud, who is actually the VP of corporate sales for Canada and Central US. So I get to work very closely with him, and Doug Moss, who I know is who Emma gets to work very closely with. He's of the West. They got up to talk specifically about Elite. And I think it was really cool because they shared this analogy about the marathon that they ran. So they took on this marathon last year, and I could really relate to it because I ran my first marathon a little over a year ago, and their whole concept is, what are you going to do at mile 18? Everyone thinks like, oh, you're going to get into this. Yeah, it's going to be hard. You're going to do all this training, and, but in the last mile is going to be so great, and you're going to run through the tunnel or the chute. And for them, they found that they're halfway through this race, and they're so glad that they're halfway. They stop and they fueled up on all this food, and they're taking selfies. And then they just crash. And it was the most painful second half of their race. So they want you to, for their analogy was to take a look at this year as your marathon, especially if you're, whatever your bigger goal is that you're trying to reach, whether it is elite or premier, take a look at that and get very clear on what you will do at mile 18, because you're going to hit a point where it's going to be hard. And I remember thinking that in my own marathon training. It's like, you got to run your own race. You have to be out there and put your blinders on and know that this is where I'm going. Doesn't matter what other coaches are doing or what everyone else is going on, but this is where I'm going. This is my message, and be very strict on knowing what that is. And that I connected with that, because if you jump out really quickly and you can't maintain that pace, it's hard. It gets really hard. Or if you start off too slow, then it's going to be a long, long haul. So it's very important to be clear on how badly you want this and what your purpose is, so that you can stay focused on that. And last year, I'll just share from my perspective, last year around Q2, the beginning of Q2, so in March, we got on a lot of diamond calls with other diamonds that were at my level to try to talk about getting to elite. And I actually, even though I think the purpose is to help, I found it very hard and very distracting. And that was the time where I think I had to just stop and say, and literally, I just pictured putting on these blinders and being like, I have to just listen to my heart and the message that I'm trying to put out there. And I think everybody's really different. But if you get distracted easily by what other people are doing and it pulls you off your path, then you just need to zip it in for the year. And it's very important to learn from other people, of course. But if what you're doing is working, stay on your journey, keep your pace, and stay on your trajectory towards the goal that you're going. So I liked that message that they shared. And the action that went along with that, I think, is at the beginning of each month, you want to set 2 goals. You want to set a recruiting goal. How many coaches are you going to recruit? And the second one is, how many of your team are you going to help hit Success Club? And that moves right into, and I loved that, because those are 2 very key parts about hitting elite is, yes, you need to hit Success Club, of course, but really it's how many new coaches are you bringing on, and how many of those people are you actually helping grow a business and be successful. And so that goes right into my number 6 that I wanted to share with you, which was Bonnie Engel, who was the 3rd top coach there that came in. And her story, I'm sure you heard her on the National Wake Up Call, it was very crazy being there at the New Leader Conference, because last year, so 2015, she was at that New Leader Conference as a new 2-star diamond, and she ended the year as a 15 superstar diamond, number 5 in the company. So that is massive growth over last year. She obviously had she had a lot to share, and I listened up. But her real strong message that I don't feel like I can even stress enough is that it all begins and ends with Success Club. It really does. Because if you can't hit Success Club, like that's where everything starts from. That's what you need to be focused on very first in your business. And that she spends very clearly with those blinders on the first 15 days of the month, focusing on her business and getting it to Success Club and beyond. And then on day 16, she turns to her sponsorship drill down and she gives the quick accolades to the people who've already hit Success Club. Good for you. That's awesome. Like, encourages them on the way. But what you want to take a look at on day 16 is who has 1 to 4 Success Club points. And those are the people you need to be working with. Those are the people you need to be helping reach that next level. Because the ones who are hitting Success Club, they get it. That's not what they need from you. So on one day, 1 to 15, she focuses in on her business, get it to Success Club. And on day 16, she moves on to help her team. And I thought that was really cool because the big message I did hear from a lot of the other leaders is how important it is to focus on your business first. Just like it's important for us to get our workouts in our own life and fill our own cup up first, it's the same thing in your business. You have to be a leader that leads from the front in your team because they will only go as fast as you will. So the action item that I took away from her is to always make 3 lists at the start of each month. The first list are your current challengers, because those are the people that you're working with right now, that you're helping get results, helping through the hard, and the people that you're definitely going to recruit. The second one is your list of no's. Who all has said no to you that month or in the last little while? And obviously this is your list that continues to grow. So you're going to use this list and have it grow. And number 3 are your prospects. Who are you talking to? Who has expressed interest that maybe you haven't officially invited yet or haven't quite got to that place of inviting? And you want to help your new coaches, especially and your struggling coaches, do the exact same so that they get their first win. And that is how you create the culture of Success Club in your team. Hitting it yourself, making your list, and then helping your team do the exact same behavior. And there was a lot of great talk about growing what they call your SC base, which is how many personally sponsored coaches on your team are hitting Success Club. So if right now it's just one other person other than you hitting Success Club, work to double that every month. So if in January you hit Success Club and one of your team hits Success Club, in February, focus on getting that to 2. Those are important goals that you need to be looking at for growing Elite and beyond. Okay, my number 7, we're getting there, was back into recruiting. Recruiting is fun and you want to change your mindset. And this is another section from Bonnie Engel that this is exactly what she focused on last year, changing in her business that she attests a lot of her success to. So, because we get very nervous about recruiting. I don't know about you, but I swear it took me a whole year to start to find my voice about recruiting. It took me way too long. You're running out of room of notes. Sorry. It took me way too long to run my first, what is coaching open house or my first what is coaching call. And I think it's because I was nervous, and developing that confidence is hard. But she said, think of recruiting as fun and change your mindset about it. Instead of only running these sneak peek events, make your post every day about your business and make it almost like your page, your Facebook page, your social media platform, make that like a public sneak peek. So every day make sure you're posting about the business, and not always yay, because I'm a Beachbody coach, I get to do this, but use it as a way to answer objections for people, to share highlights of what we do, and to make it your reality show and your reality reel about what's going on. But when she talks about answering objections, creating a post that's sharing what your misconceptions were or what you were scared of. So you might say something like, I used to think, being a coach would mean I had to spend hours every day, but really it's really great that I get to just have a focused hour and then I get to spend the rest of my time with my family. But her point was to make sure every day that you're almost like ahead of time knocking out objections, so that by the time people are ready to join your sneak peek, your real sneak peek, it's like that stuff's already gone. They've already had all those troubled parts answered for you. Yeah, and I thought that was really neat, and it's something I am working on. I find it hard, but I'm working on it every day, is posting once a day about the business, about coaching specifically, and how it's changed my life. Okay, number 8 this was a good one. It was be the change you wish to see. There are so many things to focus on, and yet until you master those simple tasks and help others do the same, they won't matter. And I think we can get very caught up in creating websites, or, all these other social media platforms, or like the best way to run ads, like all these things we can get really caught up in doing. But until you master, without a doubt, those 3 vital behaviors and that power hour that you need to have done first in your day, the rest of that stuff it will just be time wasters for you. So make sure that is always your first priority. And I'll move into that in a minute into time management, because Melanie Mitro did a great section on time management. But something that Bonnie Ingalls said that I think I've now heard repeated several times, like on the last couple national wake-up calls, but she said, although we all love aha moments don't matter. Only action moments matter. So it's great to be a knowledge gatherer and have these amazing things, but if you're not going to take a couple key elements of what made you go aha and actually fail forward and try it out in your business, then it really was a wasted moment. So make sure that when you're showing up for personal development every single day, and when you're showing up for these events and you're learning and you're investing in yourself, that you're actually taking 1 or 2 things and implementing it action-wise into your business. And I think, so my action item with that was always to schedule my power hour first. So my first 2 full years as a coach, I had my kids home with me all day. And so I had the wee hours of the morning to work my business, and I had a nap time to work my business. So I always got my power hour done first, and that helped me be very focused. But when both of them started going to school in September, I had a lot more time. And so it wasn't always the first thing that I focused on. And although I did make it my non-negotiable, there would be times where I'd be scrambling to get it in, and maybe it wasn't the quality that I wanted it to be. So the very first thing you should do, when you sit down, for your blocked off time, is your power hour. Get it done. They're the actionable items in your business that move your business forward. And without it, nothing will go. Okay, we're getting there. Number 9. So make the most of your time. And this was really neat. Melanie Mitro did a great job of actually sharing her schedule. And it was really cool to hear, because we're all very busy people. She runs a massive business, clearly, and is still, a stay-at-home mom. But she shared a couple of the things. Well, the first thing she said was that every morning, how she has her day go is that she wakes up and she does not waste time. No hitting the snooze button. It's get yourself down to that workout. And she almost makes it all a competition. How fast can I get down and start my workout? Get my workout in, post my sweaty selfie, my motivational selfie. She's and then I would be up at that computer and I would be doing the things I needed to do until I heard the little pitter patter down the stairs. And I liked hearing that, because it's very similar to my life, and we all have very similar lives, especially if you have children. Our opportunity is often before they wake up. But I think the key element to that, she said, was that you need to be very clear and planned ahead of time on what you're going to do. So on Sunday, on her rest day, and she sits down, she gets up at the exact same time anyway, and plans her week, so that when she finally gets to her computer the next morning at 5:30 in the morning, she knows exactly what she needs to be doing. And it's not a little bit of scrolling Facebook here, or wondering what to do here and there. It's very clear and time maximized. Alarm goes off, down to get the workout in, sweaty selfie posted, onto the computer, post to the groups, do the emails, whatever that is in her order, that she's very clear. And it always makes sure that she doesn't do any type of Facebook scrolling. She uses it as a reward for herself. So once she's accomplished those actionable items, then she allows herself to go in and scroll through the news feed as an enjoyable thing that she gets to do. So, doing the harder things first. And something I took away, I can't believe I didn't know this, but you can turn off like the chat box notifications on your Facebook. So like often I would sit down to do my power hour and like someone writes you. And so, it like pops right up in your face. And then it's really hard to avoid because it's right there and your brain already starts switching into what they do. So you can turn that completely off. And I'll tell you, I've done that for the last 2 weeks and I have been so much more effective in my power hour because I can focus totally on what I'm doing and not be distracted all the time. So she literally like turns off her phone or flips her phone upside down so she can't even see it, turns off her notifications and plows through that power hour and gets it done fast.
You can turn off your side thing on Facebook too to eliminate so you're not seeing your notifications. Like Bria just commented on Sarah's post, or Bria just added this friend, and you're like, oh, who's that friend?
Yeah.
So the side thing, you can turn that off as well. So you can turn everything off. That way you can just focus and be intentional about going group to group or whatever you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. On that side stream, on the chat stream on your right-hand side, there is a little like settings wheel. And when you click on that, the option's in there to turn off chat. I can't believe I didn't know that, but I'm just so glad I learned it because it's been very helpful. So what she does is every day, so she makes her plan for the week on Sundays. And then every day she gets through her power hour items first, and then tries to accomplish just two things off of a bigger project list. So whether it might be creating a YouTube training video or chipping away at a website or something else that you want to do that's above and beyond, she tries to accomplish 2 of those things a day. And I think the action items around what she shared there was to always have a planning session, much like meal prepping, right? Like you're gonna end up starving, wanting to eat the goldfish in your purse if you didn't meal plan properly. So make sure that you have a really clear idea of what you're trying to accomplish this week, so that you are maximizing your time when you have it to spend, that you set business hours. And that was big for her because she said, and it's true, it'll leak into all aspects of your life if you let this. So she says the only time she has evening things is she lets her husband know ahead of time she's got a weekly team call. And if she happens to have a coach who can't do a daytime call because they work full time, then she lets her husband know ahead of time and they pick a day that works for everybody so that she knows ahead of time in the week what her business hours are. And when her kids come home at 4:00, that is it. She stops working while they are there and awake. So she can be present, because that is a lot of what we're doing here. We're trying to create these businesses to help people and to live our best lives. And we don't do that by ignoring our children. And then the last tip I thought that she gave with that one was she uses what she calls a Acuity scheduler. As your team grows, you do have meetings and you need to be accessible for people. So it's almost like hosting office hours. So you pick a day of the week that is your day that you might open up for your team to do calls with them individually. You use a schedule like Acuity scheduler, and then your team can actually go on through the link and schedule their own meeting with you. And so then you're available that day. And if people schedule a meeting with you, then you have your meeting. And if not, then you're just working. And I thought that was a great tip, and it's been helpful for me to use since I got back. Okay. So number 10, I think the final thing I just wanted that was very strong to me that came through at the leader conference was the value of the leadership ladder. And I know this could be an entire call on its own, but when the leadership ladder launched I feel like somewhere in Q1 or Q2, I remember when it showed up, and I do have a bit of a business background, which has helped me understand numbers a little bit, I think, but it was so helpful to take a look at something and see what they call key performance indicators. So indicators in your business that I could focus on that were going to help me move to the next level, that were more than just, creating more diamonds, for example. So if you do not know clearly what the leadership ladder is, take the time to do it. When you go into your online office, like right where it shows you your Success Club, there's another little tab at the top of that says leadership ladder. And when you click on it, you can actually see, all the categories of where you were last month, where you are right now and what your next ladder is that you're reaching for and what those elements are. Everything from hitting Success Club to what your week-like volume is, to how much money you should be making, to how many people in your team you want to be getting Success Club points. And it was really helpful for me to take a look at that and be like, okay, this is where my week-like volume is. This is where it needs to be. How many people are getting Success Club points on my team? And it becomes very clear where you need to work on in your business. And that was a huge thing for me. And to hear them talk more about it, some of the stats they shared were like, let's see, I'm not going to get them exactly, and I'll have to share a slide, but I meant to write them down. But something like 70% of the diamonds, 70% of people who go diamonds who, of the people who went diamonds who did not have not also reached those levels of the leadership ladder, like that team leader level, which is where a diamond is, lost their rank at some point in time after. So if you want to build a solid foundation for your business, yes, rank is helpful, but it's the foundation, it's the filling of those other levels up your leadership ladder that are going to make sure that you have a business that grows. And it also helps you to see how you can help your team, where you need to focus your energies properly so that you're focusing them in the right place. So I would encourage you, if you're not clear on what that is, to have a call with your upline about what that is. What is the leadership ladder? If they don't know what it is, then learn it together, because it's a very valuable tool. And it's obvious to me that it is the way that Beachbody is going to be watching for people and helping with ranks and rewarding people as we grow, because it's a fuller picture of our success, which is cool. And that's that. I think that, the last quote I'd like to leave you guys with is that I heard there was, don't ever expect more from your coaches than what you would do. And I mean, I think I said it earlier on, but we've all heard, like that your children will only really take in about 80% of what you say to them, right? Like if you're the cap, you have to assume you're the cap. So if you're going at 80%, then they're only going to get to 60. So if you can really focus on leading from the front at 100, then you're going to get people that are getting up to 80 or 90%. And that is, I think, something that you can really count on.
I love this. I have pages and pages of notes, and I've been to leadership 3 times. And I've been to Summit 3 times. And so you guys, you can never, ever get too cool to learn, too cool for school in this business. Because whether or not you think you got it down pat, there's still more that you can do to grow. And I promise you, even if you've heard it 30,000 times, write it down again, because chances are you can do a little bit better at it all the time. I love what you shared. I just wanted to put a little sprinkle on what you said. And one thing that I love from, I can't remember her name, it's going to bother me, Lisa. You guys need to Google this lady. She has a new book coming out. She's like Oprah's BFF. Hold on, where is it? Anyway, she talked about turn down for what? And her big thing was, most of us, like those of you that are on this call, we're weird, because we're on this call trying to become better people, right? We're on this call trying to learn how to grow our business. And so we're not the normal people. And so we're probably operating right now at like our 70%, which is like a lot of people. Like we can coast along at our 70% and we'll still be kind of successful, right? Most people aren't willing to do that, number one, and that might be their 100% where it's our 70%, because you guys are on this call, you're taking notes, you're investing in your life. She's like, what would happen if you turn the dial up to 100 and you just were living your truth and just shining on? And so doing all these things that that Bria just talked about, but not only doing them like checklist items, but turning up who you are as you're doing this is going to make the biggest difference in your business. And so when people can't handle you shining on, when people can't handle you moving forward with passion and momentum, and they start hating on you and they don't like your post because you're so happy and in a bikini or whatever, like all y'all hated on me. Anyway, but you don't turn down from them for them just because they can't handle how you're shining. What she said, I love. She's like, instead, girlfriend, you go buy them a pair of cheap shades to put on and you just keep shining. They're like, if you can't handle that, tell them to put on their shades. And I love that because as you're moving forward, you are going to become a different person in a positive way. You have to in order to achieve great things. And so don't ever turn down who you are because it's not fitting in with somebody else's stereotype of where they thought that you should go, or they're trying to pull you down because they're not happy with where they are. All right? So take what you learn, put your own sprinkle shine on it, and turn it up. It's time to turn up the volume for 2016 because it's going to be a dang good year if you go for it. So, all righty. Anything you wanted to add, Bria? Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for being on. For those that wanted to do a quick pick, I can snap it really fast and then I'll upload it to our team because I know that some of you guys like to post this. So I'm going to give you a 1, 2, 3 smile. If you don't want mean mugging, you turn on your happy face right now. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'll post it in our group page. Oh, there's 2 pages. Hold on, I got to do this one too. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I got both. Yay, look at how many are on the call tonight. Y'all rule. Okay, talk to you later.